Is the blue light on? Awesome. Okay. All right. So again, today's lesson really foundational for all the rest of chapter 7. And if you can get this lesson down today, it'll help you in every one of the areas. And so main formula. This is a main formula, a key formula, something you should memorize. Guaranteed I'm going to ask you this tomorrow. All right. So the formula is the number equals the percent, and then in blue times the of number. All right, of number goes in the blank. Say, what in the world is the of number? You'll see. All right, but that's the formula. The number equals the percent times the of number. That's the formula. Your book puts it this way, and your book has finally gotten around to a decent way. It used to be nobody had any kind of formula. And so I came up with the number equals the percent times the of number. The book has a decent way of thinking of it as well. It's the exact same formula in a different form. And it's part equals percent times the whole. That's two different ways of looking at the same thing. The number equals the percent times the of number, or part equals percent times the whole. Now that's an equation. A formula is an equation. And that equation is going to allow us to solve percent problems. So that's what's involved here. That equation is going to allow us to solve percent problems. All right, so look to the right here. This is important for any formula where there's a percent involved. And so, if you look at the formula, we've got percent, right? We've got percent. And whenever you use percent in a formula, you must remember this part. The percent is always in decimal form when you use it in the formula. You got to remember that. You got to remember that. You can't forget that. Because if you don't put it in decimal form, you're going to get the problem wrong. Okay? And so that's an overriding thing. We just got to remember all the time, hey, the percent is always in decimal form. All right, one other thing is real important. Whenever you have an answer to any kind of problem like this, you should always ask whom? Ask DMAMS. All right, we've done DMAMS before in here, haven't we? No? First time? All right, you got to ask DMAMS. She's really good. She'll help you out. Make sure you're asking her when you finish every problem. Because if you don't ask her, you're going to give the most stupid answers in the world. All right, and I've gotten them. Idiotic answers to problems. I mean, they make no sense whatsoever. You'd have to be a blithering idiot to think it was the answer. But the person never asked DMAMS, and DMAMS would have told them that it was an idiotic answer. So anytime you do a word problem or a percent problem like this, it's always wise to ask DMAMS, what's DMAMS? Does my answer make sense? You got to do that. You got to ask, does my answer make sense? And if you'll do that, you'll save yourself from a lot of stupid mistakes and things you know can't be the answer, which means you must have gotten something in the wrong spot. So go back and look at the problem and rearrange it and get it in the right spot and get the right answer. So ask DMAMS. I'll show you that all the way along the way as we go. All right. Let's do some problems. All right, so number 2. The formula has 3 different parts. The number equals the percent and times the of number. So there's 3 parts. Or the part equals percent times whole. It's 3 parts. So we need to learn how to solve for the 3 different parts. The first part is the easiest part. You're trying to find the number, which is also the same as the part, right? All right. So if you look at the first example there, number 1, we'll use our color in this one. So what am I looking for? I'm finding the number. Well, you might not even realize when you're doing a normal problem that you're finding the number. And that's okay. I want that to be in black. So all you need to do is start putting in stuff that you know. So there are three spots, right? You got the spot for the number, the spot for the percent, and the spot for the of number. Somebody raise their hand and tell me where to put something. Tell me where to put something. Gabe? So do you want me to do this? Just like that? With the percent sign. Everybody, who agrees with Gabe? All right, bunch. Doesn't look like here. Anybody disagree? We have a couple disagreements. Okay, folks. What did I just say right here? What does that read that out loud? Did we just already violate that? All right, we already violated that. Come on, folks. John, can you close my door for me? No, you got to think on these problems. All right, so Gabe, you do have the right thing in the right spot. You just have it in the wrong form. So we need to put 0.36. Okay, I got two spots left. I got the spot for the number and the spot for the of number. So, and this is really hard, even being it's color coded. So what goes where? Alex, how in the world do you know the 80 is the of number? Oh, that's really hard, isn't it? And you know, a lot of percent problems, that's exactly how they'll do it. They'll say of 30%, 36% of 80. All right, 80 is the of number. That's pretty easy. So we now understand that we must be looking for the number, and I'm just going to call it n. Everybody should have their calculator out. If you don't, go ahead and get it out now. Again, we're saving time on problems at this point. We're using our calculators. So this is a straight multiplication. 0.36 times 80. So multiply 0.36. Hey, make sure you don't punch in a wrong number. Times 80. Byron, what do you got for an answer? Okay, well, you're supposed to do it when I say to do it, not after I ask you the answer. Pamela, what do you got? 28.8. Again, this is why some of you guys don't do well in your classes. When I'm asking you these questions, you're supposed to be thinking of the answer then, not if you get called on. Otherwise, you're in neutral, you're not thinking. If you're not thinking, you're not learning. Okay, so 28.8. Now I need to ask DMAMS. DMAMS. Does 28.8 seem reasonable to you? Well, think about the question. What would 50% of 80 be? Say it if you know it. 40. So we better be below 40. Are we below 40? Hey, so is that a reasonable answer? Yeah, it's a reasonable answer. I'm kind of happy with it. And that's all I'm talking about when I say ask DMAMS. Just try to find something similar that'll help you to know. Okay? Kaylin, question? Punch it in again, your calculator. 0.36 times 80. Say again. You are, what does your calculator say? One, you're in fraction mode. You got to get it out of fraction mode and get it in decimal mode. You're going to have to read your book and figure out how to do that. You want to be in decimal mode, not in fraction mode. Okay? So you could also be in radians or gradians and not degrees. You got to be in degrees as well. So you want normal mode and you want non-fractions, you want decimals. You can come see me after class if you don't figure it out in the meantime, but I can't stop right now, but we'll do that later. All right, number 2. How are we going to start it? Hey, same way. We're going to write the formula. When you guys do homework, I should see the formula first. Number equals, in red, the percent, and then in blue times the of number. Does your homework have to be in color? No. We're just doing it for the first couple examples. You'll see on the next example I won't use the color anymore. Okay, so I got 3 spots. Somebody raise their hand and tell me what to put in one of the spots. Nick? N goes under the number. All right, Nick chose what I would say is the one you're not really sure of yet. So I wouldn't do that one first if I were you. I'd do the numbers and then see what one's left for the variable. Adriana? 56 is definitely the of number because it says of 56. All right, I got 2 spots left. John? Just like this? How many agree with John? John and Adam. All right, that's not very good company. How many disagree? All right, Lauren, what do you want to put instead? So instead, don't write anything yet. How many agree with Lauren? 27.5. Well, that's still not everybody who disagrees with 27.5. Got a lot of disagreement. All right, Alexandra, what would you put? How many agree with Alexandra? 0.275. All right, folks, if you can't, you got to get your decimal equivalents correct. That's why we did yesterday's lesson. So just so you understand, come on, red, earth to red. 27.5 is 27.5%, which is 0.275. And you better put 0.275 in, or you know what? DMAMS is not going to like your answer. But you know what, John? You know what, Lauren? DMAMS would have hated your answer. And she'd have said to you, oh, I think you did something wrong. And hopefully you go back and check and found that you used the wrong percent. All right, calculators. 0.275 times 56. 0.275 times 56. Alexis, you got an answer for us? What do you got? Oh, I have something different. Wyatt, what do you got? Again, be careful punching the numbers in. It's easy to hit a wrong number. I got 15.4. How many got 15.4? Okay. Now we better ask DMAMS. DMAMS, do you like my answer? And so again, all right, 27.5, that's kind of hard. What's 50% of 56? So what's half of 56? 28, right? And 20, what would be half of that? We'll go to 25%. What's half of 28? 14. We better be a little bit more than 14. Are we a little bit more than 14? Hey, DMAMS likes the answer. She's happy. Now, John, she wouldn't have liked your answer. You know what you'd have gotten? You'd have gotten like 2,000 and something. And Lauren, you'd have gotten 2,000 and something, and DMAMS would have said, wait a minute, there's no way. And you'd have gone back. All right, let's keep going. Third example of this first kind. So again, we'll just use no color. How do you start with the formula? Number equals percent times the of number. So somebody tell me what 132% is in decimal form. Blake? 1.32 is correct. You can see the of number is 15 and our variable is n. Now, by the way, notice our variable is already isolated, right? So all we got to do is do the operation and we're done. So we just got to multiply 1.32 times 15. So go ahead and do that on your calculator. 1.32 times 15. Austin, what do you get? 19.8. Are we done? What do we have to do? Let's ask DMAMS. DMAMS, what do you think of 19.8? What's 100% of 15? So do we need to be bigger than 15? Are we bigger than 15? Yeah, and about 4.8 bigger. That sounds good to me. Sound good to you? I like it. DMAMS likes it. Our answer makes sense. We're rolling on. Okay? Lauren. No. I hope you'll do it, though. Okay? I have seen people write on their quizzes and tests, DMAMS activated, and they kind of like check the box. So they were kind of creative individuals. All right, next page. Page 2. Okay, so that's one of the three kinds. Here's the second situation. Let me get my shade up. The second situation involves finding the number. I'm sorry, the of number. Okay, so here we are again. I've got the formula up there. For time's sake, let's go ahead and just get right to it. The percent is obviously 0.2, right? Decimal form. Now the question asks of what number? Isn't that clear? That's the of number. I like to use X for the of number. And therefore the 18's got to be the number. 18 is 20% of what number? All right, now folks, we have an equation we have to solve. Now in a minute, we'll solve it right on the original, but I want to rewrite the equation so it's clear what we do to solve it. So right underneath in black, 18 equals 0.2 times X. So somebody raise your hand and tell me how to solve this for X, how to isolate the variable. Everybody should know. Sam? Not quite. Not quite. What are we going to do to solve this? What are we going to do to solve this? Everybody should have their hand up, folks. We've solved equations. Byron? Both sides by what? Right, which is the same thing as multiplying both sides by the reciprocal, right? What's the 0.2 doing to the variable? It's multiply times variable, isn't it? We got to multiply both sides by the reciprocal or do the shortcut divide, right? Our 0.2's divide out, isolating the variable. Now be careful. You're dividing 18 by 0.2. Go ahead and do it on your calculator. And you should have gotten 90 equals X. All right, DMAMS. Does DMAMS like 90? 18 is 20% of 90. What's 50% of 90? 45. What's half of 45? 22 and a half would be 25%. I got to be a little lower. I am. I like it. DMAMS is happy. I'm happy. All right, on to the next problem. So again, what are we going to do? We're going to say the number, that should be black, equals the percent times the of number. Every time you guys write a problem for homework, I expect to see the formula first. I expect to see you subbing in the values. And then I expect to see you solving. Okay, so again, let's see. I'm going to call on somebody. Josh, what is 8% in decimal form? 0.08. Good. Be careful with those single percents. 8% is 0.08, 5% 0.05. Good, Josh. All right, the 43, is that the of number? No. So it goes for the number, and we're looking for the of number. So times X. 43 equals 0.08 times X. So normally we'll do the next step right on this problem. We don't need to rewrite it. So how would I finish this off? Somebody tell me what to do. Wyatt? Right, so I'm going to divide the right side by 0.08 to isolate the variable, and whatever I do to one side, do the exact same to the other, right? Take your calculator out, punch in 43, divide by 0.08, hit equals, and I have 537.5. Anybody else get that? 537.5 equals X. I better ask DMAMS. That's a big number. DMAMS. So remember, what are we asking? 43 is what is 8% of what number? 8%'s little, isn't it? What's 10% of 537.5? What's 10%? 53. 8%'s a little lower, right? Are we a little lower than 53, the 43? Yeah. The 43 is a little lower than 53. DMAMS is happy. DMAMS is happy. It makes sense. It makes sense. All right, I think for time's sake, we're going to skip 3 and 4. Hey, just a note though, 85.25%, 0.8525, right? Who can tell me what 6 1/5% would be? Jack? 0.062, right? 1/5 is a 0.2, so 0.062. That would be correct. All right, for time's sake, we're not going to finish those. Let's get on to the third kind, because there's a couple tricks here in finding the percent. Note, the solution to the equation will be the percent in what form? Say it if you know it. Decimal form. Because remember, in any formula, the percent's in decimal form. So move the decimal point how many places? Say it if you know it. 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. Move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. Because remember, when you find the percent, it's going to be in decimal form. So let's see how that works. All right, so I got the formula written, right? Let's use our color on the first one. Somebody tell me something to put in one of the spots. Let's see. I'm going to pick on people that haven't participated yet. So if you haven't participated yet, you may want to raise your hand. Andrew, what do you want to put where? 36 is the number. Andrew is not colorblind. That is good. All right, 36 is the number. What else? Somebody give me something to put in somewhere. Abby. I don't know how she figured that out, but the of number is 50 because I know these are too hard and who could do problems like this? But she did figure out that the of number was 50. That means we're looking for the percent, right? And I'm going to use a P for percent. You can use whatever you want, any variable you want. I like to use P to remind me it's a percent. Okay, again, because I'm in color, I'm going to rewrite the original to help us know what to do next. So let's just rewrite 36 equals, do coefficients usually go in front of variables or behind? In front, so I'm going to write 50p, right? That's normal that way, right? What's p times 50? 50p. All right, somebody tell me what to do to solve. Cole, you haven't given me any answers yet. What do you want to do to solve this? I agree. And what else? Correct. So Cole wants to isolate the p. Excellent. He's going to do the shortcut, divide it by 50. Whatever he does to one side, he does the same to the other. All right, class, be careful now. We're going to write what our calculator says so I can show you what to do next. So take 36 and divide it by 50 and hit equals. Here's what your calculator says, 0.72. Yes? All right. Now we have to remember this, right? All right, we got to remember that. I'm going to tighten up my circle here. So we've got to take this thing and we've got to move the decimal point it's supposed to be green. Got to move that decimal point 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. 72%. I'll put it higher for you. Move the decimal point 2 places to the right and add the percent symbol. And let's not forget to ask DMAMS. Oh, DMAMS, do you like my answer? Well, here's the question. 36 is 72% of 50. What's 50% of 50? 25. Is 32 bigger? Yeah. DMAMS kind of happy. And you could go further if you wanted, but that tells you you're in the ballpark. You're in the ballpark, doesn't it? Again, be careful punching in your numbers. How many, when you punched it in, you didn't get 0.72? I'm just curious initially. Right, look at the hands. See, and you knew what to do. You had the thing, but you punched the wrong number or something. I'm just telling you, be careful punching in your calculator. How many in the course of all the problems we've done, at least one of the times you came up with a different number in punching it in? Okay, at least one of the times. Okay, and it's numbers of you. So be careful with your calculator. Be careful. If you input the wrong thing, you're guaranteed to get the wrong thing out. So be careful. The moral of the story is look at your screen after you type it in. Make sure it's the right thing before you do the next thing. So make sure you got a 36. Make sure you hit your division button and a 50. And definitely don't do 50 divided by 30. Always top divided by bottom. All right, let's do the last one. How do you start? With what? Say it if you know it. What do you always start with? Formula, right? Number equals percent times the of number. All right, see if you can finish it and ask the DMAMS. All right, finish it off. Remember, you're looking for a percent. Ask the DMAMS when you're done. See if she likes it. All right. Remember, the final step is important. See, because we're just in one color, I can do that second step right away, right? Right off the original. Now, can you figure out the final answer correctly? I want everybody to pause and look up here. If you're going to write the decimal part, always write it to 4 decimal places. I'll show you why in a minute. So 4 decimal places is 0.5512. 0.5512. If you don't have it still in your calculator, do the 43 divided by the 78. I want you to look at your calculator. And do you agree that the next 4 digits after the decimal point are 5512? You always want 4. Let me show you why. What do we always round off to? How many decimal places? 1 is unless it's money. We usually round to 1 decimal place. So watch. Because you're going to move it 2 places to the right, don't I need to know this last digit for rounding off purposes? Don't I want to round off to that digit? And I need to know the next digit to the right to properly round it off. So we end up with 55.1%. So if you'll always include 4 digits past the decimal point, then you'll know how to round to 1 decimal place. So how many got the 55%? We won't worry about the round off right now, okay? So again, you just run the formula and away you go. Use the formula and away you go. Number equals the percent times the of number. Key formula. Burn it into your memory banks. Here's tonight's homework. Page 273. 1, 3 through 6, 9 through 14, 18, 31, 32, and the ever popular 34. Quiz mañana. I'll put it a little higher for you. 1, 3 through 6, 9 through 14,